Hello and welcome to the Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. My name is Kieran, joined again by Adrian, and we're back for another special podcast to chat about full-time productions, a year with MEK Galaxy. If you haven't already, check out the series on the Full-Time Productions Facebook page and make sure you listen to our podcast on the first episode on Spotify and YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe to both channels. We will have another podcast in the coming week or so for the finale. This podcast today is the build-up to the finale, episode 4. So, Adrian, set the scene. Where are we?
Okay. Again, if you haven't seen episode 1 or listened to our first podcast, go back and do that. Short rundown, I suppose it's this team in Kerry, MEK Galaxy. It's basically a combination of a youth team and a senior team, and they're playing in the Premier League in Kerry. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of the underdogs, as we've learned. And in episode 2 and 3, that becomes, I guess, more apparent. Yeah. Episode 1 was much more kind of just setting the scene. Episode 2 and 3 are more about the football and the results. Mm-hmm. And the games that they're actually playing. So it was it was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're definitely going for the lads, and in the last 2 episodes you've gotten to know the manager and know the personalities in the team and stuff, and you're recognizing faces. And I mean, I know who the goalkeeper is now. If I saw him on the street, I'd know him. I actually didn't catch his name, but I know him. So straight away you're rooting for them a little bit more. Football-wise, are we allowed to say how it's going by the end of episode 3?
Yeah, I think the idea is that if you're listening to this podcast, we would recommend to do so after watching the episodes. There will be spoilers, of course. It's hard for us to have a chat about episodes or following a football team without disclosing the results. So if you haven't already, pause us, go and watch the episodes on Facebook or YouTube with the Full-Time Production lads, and then come back and have a listen. But yes, I think we can disclose results, yeah.
Maybe I won't go through them one by one.
I guess what reminded me, I guess, we made the comparison previously that this is like Sunderland Till I Die. But with Sunderland Till I Die, they were expecting to get Sunderland to get promoted, whereas this is what you said earlier, MEK Galaxy are the underdogs. It's kind of going the way like Sunderland Till I Die, though, where I'm not saying there was high hopes, but there was an energy around the place that success could be there.
Yeah.
But it felt a bit like, especially those first 2 games, back-to-back 1-0 losses to Castle Island and Tralee Dynamos, kind of felt like when Sunderland drew or lost to Burton on the last game of the season in the Championship.
Yeah, and you're like, it's really different to watching Sunderland Until I Die, because these are amateurs. They're just having a kick about. The manager, I suppose, is trying to, it's this new project, and it was really exciting, and he's trying to play like what we would consider good football, possession football.
Yeah. And
then they're coming up against these like physical teams and teams that are good in the air, which is what you'd expect from amateur players, like just hoof it, and get Big Larry up there to knock it on. and
he does.
I suppose my main question that I had watching episode 2 was maybe this possession-based football won't work in the Kerry League. And you're hoping it will, and there's moments, like lots of moments, where it seems it will, and then they're undone by Big Larry up front.
Yeah. And
it's kind of fucking frustrating. And I suppose we know the manager Darren now, and we're getting to see him more, and he's trying to, like, they have a fundraiser table quiz in episode 2, and you can see the kind of community and the the atmosphere that they're creating around the club, but it's just not clicking.
No.
Football wise,
I feel they're very, very much on the cusp of it clicking, though.
Yeah.
When we take the results from episode 2, 2 1-0 losses and a 3-3 draw, that final game against Adrian's favourite word to pronounce.
Right. The Fennet Samphires. That's the name of the team.
If anyone can give us any insight into where that name comes from, please leave it in the comments, because we're scratching our heads here. I thought it was Sapphires, and I thought that's pretty cool. No. Samphires and Fennet don't feel like words.
What's Fennet? Is it Fenit? Is it Fenite?
Yeah.
Fen, it just sounds like an incomplete word to me. But
neither seem like places in Kerry either.
So in that game, MEK Galaxy they go 2-1 up at halftime, and then they go 3-1 up with a bicycle kick.
Yeah.
So it shows they can actually play and I suppose we haven't talked much about like the actual shots that you get, but a lot of it is camera work from the ground level of the game happening. You know, as if there's a cameraman on the sidelines filming the game, and you get to see them play, and they play a bit of ball.
Yeah,
like, you know, and they're scoring free kicks, they're scoring from corners. Like, this doesn't happen in your five-a-side down the road like this. You know, they're actually pretty good footballers.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're 3-1 up, and then in like the last 10 minutes, I think they concede 2 goals.
Yeah,
and they get their first point of the season, but it should have been 3 points.
It absolutely should have been 3 points. Yeah, it was a 95th minute equaliser. Again, coming from a set piece. It wasn't directly from a set piece, but you know, it was a corner in the 95th minute. That's the question that I would raise now, is that I fully support the philosophy that Dara is bringing to MEK Galaxy. I love that style of football.
Yeah.
I think it is a 2020 style of football, and it's one that we're usually afraid of in Ireland. But it obviously has its downsides, because I guess the reality there isn't being told there is that style of play, you have to be the dominant team. Mm-hmm. Like Liverpool play that style, Gegenpress, right? Yeah. But when they don't have the ball, it's not as flattering. And the thing is that when MEK Galaxy are not dominating the game, they have, like you said, Larry kicking lumps out of players, hoofing it into the air. And it's kind of going into episode 3 of it, but they show a drill practice where a coach is coming in to teach them how to press.
Yeah,
it's all well and good, but are they being prepped on how to defend corners? Are they being prepped on how to mark, how to mark man to man in the box? Because we saw a couple of goals go in where lads are in acres of space.
Yeah.
So I think the drawback to this philosophy and this style of tactics at that level, is that you kind of need 90 minutes of commitment from amateur Kerry players.
That's it. And
it's tricky.
We don't know. I mean, we get a little bit of insight to training because we see clips of it and we get the odd quote from it that we hear, but we don't see all the training sessions they do. We don't see whether they're drilling them into corner kick routines and stuff. And at the end of the day, like you said, they're just amateurs, and they probably don't have the concentration for 90 minutes. And again, like, we're skipping on to episode 3 now, but they do say it's the 5 minutes in a game where we switch off, or we have a bad 10 minutes and it's gone, and they lose 2-0. So I think you're kind of right. I mean, they're at the end of season 2, they have 1 point, and they're in the relegation zone.
Yeah.
And they have 4 league games played.
Yeah.
So they're in 7th place, and there's 8 in the league, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So if they have to come 6th to not get relegated.
Yeah, and at the conclusion of episode 2, they're not a million miles away from it. The downside is that they have more games played than the teams around them, and they just dropped 2 points to the team below them, which again is costly. I guess you're at the crossroads now between episode 2 and episode 3, where it's like, they've got unlucky. Let's be frank.
Yeah,
absolutely unlucky. They played very well in the game against Castle Island, who are, as we later find out, kind of top of the league. So like, they're obviously a good team. But you're at the crossroads of, do you stick with this style for the whole season, even if it isn't getting you results? Do you have the full commitment from the team? Yes. Are heads going to drop? And that, I think, kind of brings us into the 3rd episode.
Yeah. So before even we go into that stuff, I do want to acknowledge that we do get to see, let me get his name, the assistant manager, Ronan Walsh.
Yes.
He's in charge of the B team, and the first team manager plays in the B team. And I think Ronan Walsh plays in the B team as well.
Yeah.
Did you notice the contrast in quality between...
I'm so glad you brought this up, because when I saw the clip from the B game, I was like, that's myself and Adrian's, like, that's our league. Like, Jesus. Like, the B stands for belly, right?
Yeah, I mean, we won't be too harsh, but it's just the gulf in class is massive.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, you're watching the clips from the first team and you're going, God, they can play a bit of ball. And then, like, they're nearly falling over kicking the ball in the B team, which is, I totally relate to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We could play maybe a bit when we were, like, 16, but...
And I think that's what kind of brought it back to, this is like the county next to where we live, right? Because when you see the clips of the past couple episodes, I was 100% being like, Jesus, you know what? The standard is a lot better than I thought it would be, relating to the standard of football that I played in this country.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that little clip from the B team, I was like, that brings me back. That does.
Yeah.
But fair play to them. I mean, it takes a lot of effort and commitment to tug out every other week, like so.
So then, moving on from that, Killarney Athletic they play, and it's a 2-0 loss. And then he does start talking about, I think this is when they're in the pub, isn't it?
Yes.
And he starts talking about basically players leaving to go and play other sports, which is so Irish. It's such an Irish thing.
Yes, it is.
It's like we've a decent football team national team considering the population, but like there's so many probably star footballers that just go play hurling or go play Gaelic football or rugby or whatever. And I just thought it was like, you'd never really hear that in England.
No.
You know, if you're good at football, you don't fuck off and play cricket.
No, it's absolutely, it's so Irish. And just, again, it brought me back. I used to hate it. If it seemed like certain players that were just good athletes, younger, would just play for the winning team.
Yeah.
So if, that was the one thing that Dara kind of repeated a lot, is that, tough seasons are character building. The lads that stick with you through that season, even when you're not winning and it's miserable, those are the guys you want on your team, right? Yeah. They're the committed type. But I hated it so much. You turn up to training and the rugby lads would have their training session the same night, and it would be 5-6 people turning up to training. Yeah. Oh, I just did my head in.
And you made the point there about character building in tough seasons. Is it Joe Donovan?
Joe Donovan, yeah.
Good old Joe Donovan.
Joe Donovan is...
Shout out to Joe.
Yeah, good man, Joe. Hope you're listening. If you're not, we'll make sure you are.
Bar his exploits to Asia, he's a top man for that team.
I mean, emerging as a leader in the dressing room seems very sold on the culture that's being built in the club. Seems very committed to, and a decent baller as well, which I think are the three key things that keep being said is work rate, desire, team. And they are the foundations. Yeah. You don't have to be a great footballer to play in the Kerry District League, but if you have those three characteristics and you have a player like Joe Donovan leading the line, you're gonna do well. Yeah. So
they have, I suppose, at the end of episode 3, they're playing Listowel Celtic, and they go 1-0 up, and then, in Dara's words, I think they had a bad 5 or 10 minutes, kind of the same team, and they lose 3-1. And again, that's kind of when Joe Donovan really steps up and says, even though we might go down, and they're now facing the fact that they might go down a division, it's still positive. And they do touch on, they say, we look at where we were 3 years ago and where we are now, and we can see the progress. So even though we're not seeing that progress in these 4 episodes,
that's the thing, the bigger picture. And some people don't see that. Some people are very tunnel vision to the actual result. It seems the coaches, Dara and Ronan, keep saying it's more important about the performance than the actual results on paper. Because, if you've been part of that, establishment, and especially knowing as well, I think the club secretary, I forget his name, but he kept saying that the youth teams are doing excellent.
Yes.
Dara mentioned as well that he coaches the under-11s, doesn't go to their games, but he saw them and he was happy. That is the long-term goal, right? Yeah. That's what a lot of people wouldn't buy into, is that, there's teams across the board that have come from very little to being like, a breakthrough or established club. I don't think it's the worst if they actually did get relegated, because I think the foundations are there. But, fair weather fans, fair weather players, that's how it goes.
And he refers a lot to teams like going bust and just like not, what's the word? Not existing anymore. Folding.
Yes.
So I guess staying up is ideal, But the main thing for them is to have that, the youth coming up, so that they're still going to be thereabouts in 5-10 years' time.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, they've got 1 point after playing 7 games, so they're halfway through the year, and they've played 7, but the teams around them have only played 5.
Yeah.
So they're not in a good position going into the final episode.
No.
I don't know what happens. There's still a chance they'll stay up. It is possible.
Mm-hmm. It's a biggie against Listowel now, isn't it? Because they are the team. That's the team that's below them.
Yeah.
If they, I think 6 points. 6 points from the final games would absolutely do it.
Yeah. 7 games, and if they get 2 wins, I'd fancy them to stay up.
Yeah. Which
Which they could have already gotten based on the way they've played and everything, and they've just been, like you said, unlucky.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very shocked when it's going back a little bit when they mentioned that the last 4 teams to get promoted had either gone straight back down or had folded.
Yeah.
Very cutthroat.
Yeah.
Very cutthroat at that level. Well, look, I mean, maybe we'll turn now to predictions. Again, we don't know. I know this is all in the past, right? Anything could happen in the season finale, which you can see Full Time Productions Facebook and YouTube page on New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, yeah.
Yeah, so make sure you check it out.
You won't be doing anything else.
You shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Is that, for me, I think they can turn it around. Will they? Yeah, I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to side with they beat Listowel and they get themselves a result somewhere else.
I mean, I want to say yeah as well, but is that boring? Should I just go against you for
the crack? Yeah.
All right, I'm going to say get relegated. I feel like such a prick. Yeah. While I'm at it, while I'm being a prick. Actually, I'm not being a prick here, but we mentioned Stephen Corsini, did we?
Yeah.
I forgot that we actually never said that one of the main things in episode 2 as well is one of the players gets a dislocated knee. And they actually show the footage of them popping it back in.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, he has that footage forever now.
Yeah,
you know?
If you're a bit squeamish,
yeah.
close your eyes.
They do put a warning at the start, though.
They do,
so it's fine. But he's back, so that's positive.
Yeah.
The other one we want to mention, Gary Cassidy.
Yes.
He's the James Milner of Kerry.
Gary, if you're listening, you are the James Milner of Kerry. The first responder, physio, and the man that can play in any position. I think that's you better put that on your CV.
Yeah, he said when he joined, he told them he was a forward. He's played every position, including goalkeeper, except forward. Well, I mean, that's a team player. So...
Last honourable mention from me is the sponsor and the name of the bar. Golden Nuggets. I've never heard of the Golden Nugget Bar. I mean, again, if there's any insight into how it found its name, that would be greatly appreciated.
This reminds me, right? Golden Nuggets should be a chicken nugget place, right?
Right.
That fucks me off. It's like Gloria Jeans should sell
jeans,
not coffee.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Curry's PC World. Motherfucker turning up to a Curry's and just getting PCs. There's so many of these around. If you look out for them, I should have written these down.
Yeah, there's so many. I'm just thinking the Mahon Point here, being like.
Yeah, I mean, someone said pennies. Obviously, you're not going to go into a shop and buy pennies.
The cost could be pennies, though. It's for fucking flagrant false advertising.
Yeah.
Because nothing is cheap in pennies anymore.
No.
Everyone,
we were saying that.
Everyone's saying that, it's a place you go for, bargain discounts. You don't. No.
Yeah, they used to. That used to be the place I'd go before, my holidays and get shorts for €3. Now the shorts are £25.
Yeah.
I can get that anywhere.
No, we don't want that.
We had this conversation.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
You put a Sean Connery there. We had this conversation.
Good.
Yeah, but Golden Nugget Bar. I mean, because Golden Nuggets are cereal.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if that's what influenced
it. It's probably some... Golden Nuggets. Is that a leprechaun thing?
Like gold mining. Oh, actually, in one of the episodes there was a sign, and I mean... It's probably a sign that's everywhere in Kerry, but the Ring of Kerry. Maybe it's like a tourist place. Maybe it's on like the route of the Ring of Kerry.
Where the pub is.
Yeah.
I'd say so, yeah. I mean, it's Killarney, isn't it? Killarney is... It's like 50% Kerry people, 50% American tourists.
Yeah, that's true. But the Golden Nugget Bar, I'd love to drink there.
Yeah.
Play around the pool with Joe Donovan, who's the new PUPcast subscriber.
Yeah.
Or he will be.
We'll never be talking about you again, Joe. I'm sorry to tell you. So, looking into episode 4, I think they're going to go down. You think they're going to stay up?
I have faith. I have faith in good football, and I feel that they do play it. Whether or not that gets results in the Kerry District League, we will find out. But 6 points is not... well, I keep saying 6 points. I mean... It's not the set figure they need to get.
We haven't done the maths on this.
No, but it feels like 2 wins should do it.
Yeah.
And I feel that's not a million miles away when you look back, and they should have beat Fennet Samphires, which is a weird name.
Yeah.
They didn't get absolutely smashed by Killarney Athletic, who were called serial winners.
Yes.
And Castle Island and Tralee Dynamos were very close games. So, I mean, who knows? But you will know when you've watched the finale, episode 4, and then you come and listen to our podcast, which we'll record on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we'll talk about the finale.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to it.
All right, well, that brings a close to this special edition of the Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. Going to pass you over to Past Me. Soundbite has been recorded.
Don't even include that.
Yeah, I'm definitely recording that.
Okay.
Over to you, Kieran. You've been listening to the Put 'em Under Pressure podcast. For more of our content, make sure that you follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Facebook. Outro music.